Hold on.
Hey,
Sorry,
Timmy, that looks good.
I was over on the Google link for whatever reason.
Okay.
Came through my email, so that's the one I joined. Then I was like, "Where's Ted?" And then I looked at the text messages, and you'd actually send me a Zoom link. I don't know why there's two links, but here we are.
Because it was probably set up as a Google event.
Right. Gotcha.
So, well, Timmy, we're doing these sort of interim interviews with folks.
Yeah, I've watched Tanner's. I've watched John's.
Oh, so you're excited for yours?
Yeah. That's why I texted you back.
Yeah. All right. Awesome.
Can you hear me all right? We're good?
I can hear you okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Why don't you give us a brief introduction of who you are, where you are, a couple of ways to reach you?
Yep. All right, so my name's Tim. I'm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. My phone number is 717-478-4822. Website is 717air.com, 717air.com. It's just me. I'm a one-man shop. A little bit of background. I'm originally from Alabama. I have a contractor's license in Alabama. So I was living there till about 10 years ago. Went to trade school there, got my state license there, do all that. Moved up to Pennsylvania. My wife is from here. We met, moved up, started my own company here. Here you don't need a license really. So a lot of companies like me, one-man shops. There's big companies too, but it's much easier for one-man shops to succeed. And so we have a lot. We also have a lot more. I'd say there's some more competition kind of thing, just because you
can not as big of a barrier to entry.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't need a license, and you just have insurance, pay $50 a year, and you're good to go. And you can do HVAC, you can do electrical, you can do framing, you can do it all except plumbing. You can't set a toilet without their plumbing license. But yeah,
state of the free and the brave.
Yeah, it has perks and downfalls. There's good and bad to that.
Nice.
And I've seen good and I've seen bad.
So do you recall when you started getting interested in joining HVAC20 tribe?
Man, it's hard for me to remember. I don't remember exactly. So part of my personality or whatever has been kind of, my dad also owns a construction company. So I kind of was brought up in the trades a little bit, and he hasn't always hired the best people, kind of thing, the most competent, the most trustworthy. So I think I was pretty scarred about doing certain qualities of work growing up. They were never done great. So I've always had this, I want to do things better. I want to do things right. I want to do things correctly. And so that led me, when I started my own company, to try to figure stuff out. And one of the things here is people are tearing out, gutting homes. It's a big market for hydronic systems, baseboards, radiators, all that kind of stuff. And people were buying our housing market boomed here, buying houses, gutting them, and putting in forced air systems. So there's a lot of complexity and design and stuff like that. And I realized we weren't really taught that in trade school. We were just taught kind of the fundamentals of how to fix, the properties of that, of all that kind of basic stuff. So it kind of pushed me to learn how to do load calcs and duct design and stuff like that. And I got into rights off. And I think somewhere along the lines of doing that and being involved in, the HVAC school group on Facebook, something came up with like, well, what's your blower door score? What's the infiltration on the house? Something like that. And I was like, I have no idea what that is. It's another aspect I didn't know anything about. And I think somehow, maybe it was Nate, maybe it was somebody from the 2.0 group at the time, had mentioned that, and so that caused me to maybe join the advanced discussion group. and then dive in deeper there. And then, I've never even heard of a blower door. Like, what does that even mean? And infiltration. And so I think it started almost as how can I do load calcs better, in a sense. And then now my whole mindset on load calcs is almost kind of warped and shifted to what I had once thought.
When you say that, how did you once think and how do you think now?
Well, I think I thought maybe what the paper said was gospel, kind of thing about, we do the math, all the calculations from the book, from Manual J, from all that, and that's it, and that's the end all be all kind of thing. That's how it is, and I think we found that it's usually oversized, just from what we've seen, and so you can be more aggressive. You can do some other steps. You can back into loads and stuff like that. And I've done that with some of my clients, and I haven't had anybody call me yet and say that their thermostat was slipping, or
Nice.
the system's too small or anything like that.
Yeah, and you have had some situations where you've caught Manual J actually undersizing.
Yeah, they're the blower door. I've heard people talk about how it's not needed. You can do a low calc without a blower door, and I think there's a lot of places that's probably accurate. The city we live in is historic. We're an hour outside of Philly, so one of the first major cities, and so we have 100-year-old homes, 200-year-old homes, brick row homes, very common. And I rarely have seen a blower door with a 1-to-1 ratio. Like
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen that. Well, okay, I've seen one, and it's a new build. It's a new build, and they did foam.
So you don't see them tighter than that. All you do is see them looser than that.
Unless it's a new build, and
Unless it's a new build.
and even then, it's the Wild West here. I've still seen new builds with a 2-to-1 ratio.
Okay.
So there's nobody enforcing a blower door test, anything like that. So yeah, when we take all that information and I'm putting it in a load calc software, like I've seen it double somebody's heating load. I think I have an example where they needed like 150,000 BTU after we figured in their 3-to-1 infiltration rate, and I still put in like 100,000 BTU, and they were happy as a pig in mud.
But you're also like you're aware of anomalous situations like brick houses.
Yeah.
Brick has so much mass that it has this tendency to have a big lag, and that lag isn't, well, it's like trying to accelerate a super tanker.
Right. Yeah, it has this. Yeah, it's a little bit different than
most houses. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of brick here. A lot of brick.
Okay. What did you think HVAC20 meant when you joined?
Like I said, I think I initially thought it was like how to do load calcs better, almost.
Okay.
And maybe that's kind of what drew me in. And then like as I started, then I signed up for the membership, and then I started going to Monday meetings and realized it's a sales process. Or maybe that's also kind of what drew me in. I've done every sales program there is. I've bought a flat rate book. I bought a few of them. I've been part of probably the most popular sales groups that you've seen online and the Facebooks. I've probably been a part of them, because I felt like I wasn't good at sales. I was never taught sales. I know how to fix things, and so every one of them just felt kind of manipulating or a little slimy. Like, can you drop the pin and make the homeowner pick it up, and that will kind of push them to sign on the dotted line. Some tricks like that, stuff that's just like,
oh, come on, please. Really? You want me to do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Eee.
Yeah, so when you started hearing people about, yeah, hey, I just went in, we tested their house, you know, because when I started, it was just the comfort console. We tested their house, we showed them the data, we put together the options, and then they bought a $25,000 system. It's like, and you didn't like,
You didn't
you didn't have,
coerce them. You didn't do anything. All you did was say, okay, so this is why this is why this. And if
right,
we do this, we're probably here. And if we do this, we're probably here. Where do you want to go?
right, and you gave them odds. You never told them 100%. You gave them odds of success, and then they still decided on what they wanted to do,
And then they're happy about the whole experience too, right? They're like,
right,
oh, that worked out great.
right, yeah,
This is our thing.
had some great success stories
Yeah.
using the comfort console.
So, what has being part of HVAC20 meant to you?
I mean, it's definitely changed my business. Like, working for when I started, I was moved up here. I was working for a lot of like companies that were flipping houses and realtors and stuff like that, property managers, just whoever would, I could get in and get a quick check and be done kind of thing. A lot of people were trying to look for the lowest price, and there's a lot of that here. Um, so kind of being able to have a process where we solve issues, and it's been great and actually help people. And it's this whole mindset shift. At one point when I was learning to do load calcs and come in to do a job, I wasn't charging for those, because I was just like, what system does this person need? And nobody else is going to tell them to charge for it, or that they need it. And because people weren't doing it, they were just guessing at what they needed. So, learning some of the Sandler techniques, and now I charge for every load calc I do. I don't break that out unless there's a check in hand. It's also kind of helped, man, bringing the money up front and talking about was a game changer for me. Like about every call I go on, whether it's service or like, I'm like, well, what's your budget for something like this? And so even sometimes on the phone, what's your budget for this? Because you can kind of fish out the tire kickers. You can fish out, somebody called me last week and they have a new build that they're doing. It's fully gutted. Well, what's your budget for this? Well, our budget was like 10. Well, the plans you emailed me, we're talking 30, So
Right.
there's a big gap here. What do you want to do? And there you can kind of decide, so it's also, yeah, it's helped me sort through the mess. It's kind of helped me be able to communicate a little bit better, know your worth, charge for what you're delivering, that kind of thing.
So, and you're not wasting time. You find you're not a lot less visits with people who aren't going to move forward.
Right. Right. Yeah. And as a one-man shop, it's, I got a young family. So any kind of time that I can not waste.
Yeah. You want to get paid for your time as much as possible.
Absolutely. I mean, like everybody does, but
yeah. Yeah. Going forward, what do you think HVAC20 is going to mean to you?
Well, I mean, it's already kind of built this base. I think there's always this improvement of just, there's always this desire to be better and drive, and Sandler can always be improved and be better. We're always talking about that. And then I think the free quote is changing a lot of things. I'm still very comfortable with the comfort console. So there's a little, part of 2.0
hesitation, a little hesitation to lean into the free quote.
Yeah, and part of 2.0 too is kind of like shifting your way of thinking, getting out of your comfort zone on certain things. So that's just another part of it, that I'm comfortable now. Like I got to process it.
Well, the free quote evolves and continues to evolve pretty quickly. So hesitation to lean in when it's very raw and learn it, to have to unlearn it and relearn it it
Right.
makes sense not to go too quickly if what you have is working.
Right,
I think
right,
we're
for sure.
getting to a point where it makes sense to learn it.
Right, and there's a lot of success now, and I think even having some of the other guys share their stories and going through their debriefs and seeing where, it's still evolving. Things that have worked, things that we didn't know we were
Well,
doing.
moving the install above the equipment
Right,
when you're helping people doing their perfect specification.
right, yeah, and the specification build, that really wasn't a focus before, and now
No,
it's
that's quite a value add, isn't it? To be able to
yeah,
say to a homeowner, look, people come out and they're kiting all kinds of different
right,
specs because homeowners generally don't have a specification. But homeowners want bids, and then they don't know how to make heads or tails of all these bids because they're not the same.
right,
And so one of the services that we provide on our free quote is to help you come up with your perfect specification.
right, exactly. Yeah, and so that being a focus, I think changes. Where the few times I tried it, like I think that would have changed that call and how it was designed and stuff like that. So yeah,
And the
it's
smiley faces?
smiley faces are great. People like that. Oh, they see what works and doesn't work, kind of thing.
I was
You know.
talking to Austin yesterday. He's like, it's amazing how well the smiley faces tie into the 6 functions video.
Yep, I watched
And
the
the
video.
homeowner gets like, oh, 6 functions. Oh, smiley faces. I see it.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Good stuff.
So, do you have other thoughts on the free quote process and how it might change or how
I
you
mean,
use Comfort Consult?
right. I mean, yeah. And so I'm hoping that I can, get the process down for free quote as well as I think the Comfort Consult works for me right now. And the Comfort Consult was there's still a learning curve to that too. So it's just like this one. I just went on a call and I think I've sold a Comfort Consult for a client. So I haven't totally wiped the Comfort Consult off the board yet, kind of thing.
So,
Uh,
actually, before we go any further on that, when you think about your sales leads,
yeah,
what was your percentage of Comfort Consult to whatever your quoting mechanism was before?
like okay, how many Comfort Consults compared to like
Per
all
lead?
the leads?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a low percentage. Less than 10%, maybe probably less than 5 even.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was a huge amount, but the jobs that come from it are, I'm a one man shop. I did a $50,000 job from a Comfort Console. You know, every job from a Comfort Console
Okay.
is probably averaging, $20,000. I've done some that are smaller, people's budgets. The one I did a Comfort Console for people who were moving in 5 years. And so they did.
Why did they elect? They were just frustrated enough, or
Yeah, they were frustrated, and we saw, they didn't choose the top option. And
sure,
I've
well,
talked about
5 years, right?
I've talked about
But
this
they
on this.
understood it.
Yeah, I've talked about this, in some of our meetings. They chose a 2-stage gas furnace, single stage AC. We offered heat pump, all that kind of stuff. And their heating did great. They loved how well it worked. They were literally the text I got from, "We're thrilled," kind of thing. But
Yeah.
then cooling didn't solve any of their issues, kind of thing. And I thought maybe at least the heat pump being, or really 2-stage, I thought would have solved some issues. And they said, okay, yeah, we understand that, we own that. And after that job, then I did the HVAC at their Airbnb they bought and flipped. And now they've moved out of their house. They're building their forever home. I'm bidding their
You're in the
AC.
process of, okay.
Right. So even though they weren't completely satisfied with the results, they own the results.
They didn't hold it against you,
Exactly.
and they liked the process, so
Right.
that they'll understand it even better now because they can correlate it to result.
Right. But overall, every job has been profitable and knock it out of the park with the Comfort Console kind of thing. So
Okay.
it's not a ton of leads that have converted to do that, but the ones that have, they have real problems, real pain, and are willing to pay for it, kind of thing.
Nice. I can't think of any other questions. So how many years has this been?
Since man, I think it's like 4 or 5. I'd have to look.
Okay. Do you remember how challenging it was to learn how to do the comfort consult? Do you have any recollection of that?
Um, I think initially I wasn't doing a lot of the Monday meetings, and like you would record them and send them out, and watching them and hearing people talk about them and going through them, and then you had all the videos of doing them. Um, and the first one, like we did a practice one. It was really guided, so I don't feel like it was too terrible after. Like, I'm a big guy who does a lot of, like, when I buy a new cell phone, I'm researching it, I'm watching videos. Yeah, I'm that kind of person. I'm always doing that. So I tried to ingest as much information as I could before we did that. And so I don't think it was as overwhelming as, maybe, I have a
It is for
technical
some
background.
people. If you had to learn it in 3 weeks,
Yeah,
it might be a drag, but you learned it over 6 months.
right. And I have a technical background too, so that I think helps. A straight salesman who's never done this maybe would have a little more of a hiccup and challenge kind of thing.
What do you think about the idea behind not having people come in to doing the comfort consult raw?
Well, I mean, I think I think it helps lower the barrier of entry. Blower doors are expensive, kind of thing. So I don't think. I mean, I think you can still learn all these fundamentals that are taught
Through the free quote.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's okay. I think the hardest part of 2.0 is the mindset shift.
The Sandler.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, just the whole mindset shift. I think this is going to be me ranting a little bit, but I think our industry is stuck on. We as technicians sometimes think we have the best idea, the only idea, and other ideas are wrong, and you can't shift your way of thinking.
They're not open-minded to really understanding other ideas before dismissing them. They just dismiss them before they understand them.
Exactly. And I think we've seen it all the time from people who are in 2.0 or were part of 2.0. Like my favorite is Neil Comparetto. He posts on HVAC school groups some controversial little things, and people are like, oh, that doesn't work. That's wrong. That doesn't work. And then he has the data behind it to show how it does work. So, people are just quickly to dismiss stuff. So I think in this group we've came in, and people are able to have a malleable mind, a shiftable mind. They can, they're not quickly to dismiss stuff. They're like, oh, let's digest this, let's process it, let's test it. And so I think that's the biggest hump of moving into 2.0 at all. It's being able to shift your mind on.
It's kind of a nice filter.
Yeah, for sure. If you already can't come in and shift your mind of the way of thinking, then
you're going to get stuck. You're going to fail. And it's too much of a lift for the way you think.
Yeah.
For you to be able to get. So it'll be interesting because this is going to be, I think, a whole new page.
Yeah.
As we saw, Jason got up to speed on doing free quotes. Like it was an hour to an hour and a half to do the onboarding. And then he did 2 free quotes and he was comfortable. Like you could do 2 free quotes to a family member or a coworker, and you'd be up to speed.
Right. Yeah, I think that's why the free quote is so appealing. You can come in and not have all the tools and bells and whistles and stuff like that, and potentially change the way you sell.
Yeah. And then there's likely load range, and then the evolution of the green, yellow, red.
Right.
Getting added to that, and hopefully pretty soon here that'll be automated, and then people don't have to do any of their own load calcs. I think that'll be a big value to people, because there are lots of people out there that are like, oh, I got to do a load calc to get to likely load range right now.
Right.
And once that's automated, I mean, how hard is that for you
To do a load calc or?
to get your likely load range?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I mean, I don't do it for free even right now, like, kind of thing. So, it's still right. I'm just going in based on what people have, kind of thing. You want to change it, you want to change it, kind of thing.
Okay.
And so to get, when that's fully automated, yeah, I'll present that. Hey, this is what you have. This is where my range is showing you have, kind of thing like that.
Okay.
Every quote I'm still offering a comfort console. I'm still offering even just a standalone load calculation. Whatever. I try to line them up with a lot of offerings.
Best fit.
Yeah. What do you?
What,
and then it also,
what's going to be comfortable for you? So,
right.
so this is great feedback, because it just reinforces the idea that we need to get likely load range automated, because
Right.
then that'll be a tremendous value, because it already represents a value to you.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, so much work.
Yeah. When you're trying to change a whole process and way of thinking, build a software. Yeah.
Bug reports.
Right. Yeah. Work out the bugs. That's a fun thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You got good at recording your screen, video recording your screen, so that you can show where things
Yeah.
go awry. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you wanted to, any other thoughts?
No, I think I think I've talked enough.
Okay. So on for another 5 years. We'll
Yeah,
do
let's
this
go.
5 years from now.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you very much, Timmy.
Not a problem.